Hello, everybody. It's Professor Cruz again, and welcome to week seven. Seven of 8 of our weeks together in this class. This will probably be the last video that I make because really next week it's pretty much just the final exam. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that in this video because I think everything kind of finishes through this week to the beginning of next week. If I sound a little congested and nasally and I'm hacking and coughing again, please bear with me. The pollen monster strikes again. This has been a tough year on me for my sinuses with the pollen and all that. Hopefully, we get a good rain soon. That'll kind of wash away some of that. Hopefully, you guys are all hanging out, holding up pretty well with this as well. But that being said, there's still work to do. So I wanted to make a video and tell you like what we're doing this week. I'm working my way through the grading. So like usual, as I get it done, it'll pop into your grade book. You'll see your grade. Um, what we have, I think tonight, you have an assignment due, you have a reply post due, and then Tuesday this week is your reply post for the thing you turn tonight. Since we are kind of scaled a little bit, doing two of the discussion assignments in 1 week. Okay, so get those in when you get a shot. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to talk about the things that we have going on this week. So let's see. Okay. All right. So if you go down on the course homepage, and if you've been utilizing the calendar here as your guide point, you'll see that your Module 12 Dropbox is due tonight. For the Dropbox and the discussion, you got to have it in the Dropbox and on the discussion board on time, 11:59, not 12:31 or tomorrow. We got to get them on there tonight to be on time. And then that discussion board will be open until Tuesday for you to go back and reply to one of your classmates like usual. You got a couple quizzes due tomorrow, the chapter 12 quiz and the chapter 14 quiz due tomorrow by the 11:59 p.m. Get those kind of knocked out. Then it says May 1st, you have your Dropbox for your code of ethics due. So that's coming up. May 1st is this week. See, according to my calendar, let's see, that's Thursday, right? Yep. And then Sunday, you have your final reflection due. Sunday, we also have all the extra credit due. The extra credit deadline will not be extended for any reason at all. It's been open the entire semester, so you've had this whole time to work on it. Some of you have been doing the quizzes. Remember, there are actual Dropbox assignments that you could do as well. And if you look in the extra credit module, it'll explain those assignments. And if you have any questions about them while you're doing, feel free to reach out to me and ask, and I can give you some guidance on that. But that's all due Sunday because grades are due next week, and I got to get all this stuff finalized and get it put in. You have the post survey of ethical issues also due Sunday. That's a thing we did in week one where you had to do like the screenshot of the proof. You're going to do that again, and it kind of just measures your growth throughout the semester. And then Monday next, your final exam opens, and then that is available through Wednesday night. And I'll talk about what that is, okay? And so, give me a second here. Sorry. And so, when we go to our course content, this week, you see on the calendar, excuse me, down here for week 7. We have our chapters due for our smart book. We have our code of ethics assignment that's due Thursday, like I said. That's going to be module 13. And the government ethics is module 14, but we're not doing a government assignment, just the quiz. It'll be something different there. And so when we go to course content now, and we go to module 13, codes of ethics, which is where we're at this week. You have your quiz due. This will, you read your chapter, see about codes of ethics, take take your quiz. You're going to write your personal code of ethics, right? And so think about everything you've learned in the course of this class, and in 200 words, you're going to write your own personal code of ethics that you're going to use for your personal life and for your professional life. And these can be any of the qualities that you find important, any of the values you want to hold yourself to. There's not a specific thing I'm looking for here, just as long as you put some depth in your explanation. You cover a lot of things that would get you up to that 200 word minimum, and that would make sense. Where, like, if this is my code of ethics that I want to live by, what would it be? And you're kind of explain that as you go through. In this, it's kind of a loose format. You could do it in paragraph form, bulleted form, numbered form, planks. Like, if you want, you can look up examples of codes of ethics, and you can see some people have like just these little paragraph like lines of like resolutions, if you will, that like a person like a doctor will hold themselves to blah 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 blah, that kind of thing. And so like you're going to do that for yourself, and I don't want to put a lot of limitations on that because I kind of want to see the uniqueness of like you and yourself in that section. And then in the second part, what you're going to do is you're going to evaluate the code level. Okay. And this is the level in which you think the code was written. And you remember, you'll see in the chapter, if you haven't fully finished yet, there are four levels to these codes. The first one is basic, and that's like letter of the law, just keeps me out of jail, kind of thing. And you'll see the problem with the basic code level is that, it creates like a loophole mentality, right? And this is where like, well, I'm doing enough to stay out of jail. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm a great person, though. Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of our political code of ethics are written at that basic level because if you think about when the government writes something, it kind of like becomes law, and if they violate it, then it's like a legal issue. So a lot of the times these government bodies will write these code of ethics that it kind of give them protections under the law, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going out of their way to be these fine moral examples of government professionals, right? Then we have the next one is the currently obtainable. When you think about this, is just going through your day-to-day life, what you would need to do just to fit in to the social standards of society, that the social contract, if you will, of day-to-day behavior. You're not really using any concerted effort. You're just kind of waking up and following like those like kindergarten rules kind of things, and like the joke I use in class is like, when you walked in the door, you didn't spit in a classmate's face because you knew that was not accepted in society. But you shouldn't be commended for not spitting in somebody's face, because you shouldn't want to do that. You should know that that's okay, and you're not, most of us aren't fighting the urge to do that 24/7, right? Then the third level is that practical level, right? And this is where you can reach it with just a little concerted effort. This is more than the currently obtainable. This is where we go a little bit above and beyond. When your job has specific requirements, maybe like you have to keep some confidences, some privacies, or things like that. Things that would require you to do a concerted effort. Like as a teacher, like I have certain things that I have to follow with like your guys' personal information, like even to your other professors. If they ask me, how's so and so doing in your class, I can't really tell them that because I don't have a reason to do that, And so, those kind of things, right? And so one of the examples you'll see in the book is like J.C. Penney's, which I know is kind of a dated example for some of us, because I don't know. I mean, I grew up shopping at J.C. Penney's. I don't know if many of the younger students in class are familiar. I think they're still around, but they were called the Golden Rule Company, right? And this is the golden rule, like treat others the way you would want to be treated yourself, right? And the idea is that takes a little extra effort, right? And you have to kind of go out of your way of that normal expectation of just getting by on the currently obtainable level to do the practical level. And it's like before I came to academics, I was a retail manager for like 10 years at Sports Authority. And I would always tell my associates, give the level of service that you expect to see when you go out to a store. Because there was nothing more ironic than a terrible, crappy employee coming back from the weekend with a story complaining about how they got bad customer service, at a store they went to over the weekend. I was like, well, bud, you get bad customer service all the time. So it's that going above and beyond, that extra. This is why, like, not to use retail as an example again, but like Publix, maybe some of you work there or know people who work there, but this is why they are supposed to walk you to the item rather than just say, oh, yeah, the green beans are that way and point you, and then you're wandering 5 minutes later because you didn't find them. And how much effort extra does it really take to walk somebody to the item, show them where it is, make sure they have what they need, and then walk back to where you were and what you were doing? And so that's the practical level, right? That just a little bit extra concerted effort. And that fourth level then is the theoretical level. And I don't expect many of you to write codes that high unless you're going into some sort of profession that would need it. But that theoretical level, that's like that near perfection, right? It's a perfect ethical moral standard. And the idea is nobody can really hit that all the time. That's why it's theoretical, right? Even with the most effort, nobody can be perfect 24/7. An example I always use, like for anybody who's Catholic out there, maybe you know this. I'm not, but have friends who are, and I know that even priests have priests that they confess to because they fall short, even though they live at this higher standard, right? Most of the time, because that's just a human thing to do, right? But the idea is you strive for it. It's not something that, you know, you can obtain all the time, but you should be actively working towards attaining it. And this is that highest level, like clergy members are a good example. They have to go above and beyond, or, certain people that would require you to make a conscious effort every day to be the best version of yourself you can be. There's a great television show I like, and if you've not seen it yet, and if you're into overly exaggerated high school sports dramas where people in their mid 20s are playing 16-year-old kids. If you've not seen Friday Night Lights, I mean, it's a great TV show about like high school football in Texas. And, in the later seasons, the coach is talking to a young Michael B. Jordan, who's the quarterback. And, they're in the office and, Vince Howard is the character's name, and he's screaming at the coach, and he was like, you know, he's like, why are you always on me to be perfect? And I can't be perfect. And he says to him, he's like, you don't have to be perfect, but you have to try. And the idea is he's the leader of the team, and everyone's looking up to him. And if they see him slipping, then they're going to slip. One of my first early bosses I had in my young 20s, the guy told me it's something that stuck with me for life. And it's anything you do good, your people will do half as good. Anything you do bad, they'll do 10 times worse, right? And this is why, in that theoretical level, it's that striving, that constant strive for perfection. So, what you're going to do after you've written your code, you're going to assess the level at which, you feel that code's written at. No, I'm not necessarily going to hammer you if you're off. I want to see your thought process through it. So I want you to use multiple examples from the code, not just the parts you heard me say here, because I was loosely generalizing, right? But use multiple examples from the code of what Manus and Monroe say, that the characteristics of that level are, and then show where that's reflected, right? Like in what you've written. So I can see, like, here's my code, here's that analysis, and I put them together and kind of got where I'm at, right? And then when you have that done, the third part here is a reflection where you're just going to reflect on the code you wrote, explain the things that made the code important to you, what personal factors influenced it, your expectations for yourself, Is it going to be hard to follow this code? Is it high or low that you've written it? Can you justify why you've written it at that level and stuff like that? Then, as always, you want to go through this checklist here, right? And make sure you can answer yes to all these before you turn them in. And then you submit that to the Dropbox. Okay, this is Dropbox only. There's no discussion element, just a Dropbox. Okay. Then, when you're done with that, you're going to go to Module 14, the government ethics, and you'll see that you have a reflection to do. So you have that quiz that's due tomorrow night. But the reflection, this is a final reflection that I want you guys to do for the class. I think this is kind of fun. I want to see your interpretation of these instructions. There's no rubric like normal. So what this one is for throughout the semester, I've been giving you feedback on your assignments, filling in the rubric, showing you what my expectations are. Now I want to see this last assignment, how well you can, meet those expectations when you got to do it without the, prompting as much. This is going to be a contract style grading. Sorry. This is more like I'm asking you to do these things. If you do these things, I'm looking to give you the 40 points. If you deviate from these things, then I have to take some points off, okay? Now, what I'm asking you to do for this reflection, I'm only asking you to do 250, 300 words, okay? A multi-paragraph response, okay, in the full APA standards like we've been doing. There's not going to be anything to cite because really this should be you reflecting on something. So you shouldn't be drawing from other sources because I'm asking you for a personal experience. You certainly shouldn't be using any AI, any Grammarly, any ChatGPT, any Copilot, any of these things that I've been kind of beating out of you guys over this semester that we shouldn't be using because they're AI generated, and we need to make sure we're doing our own work, our own intellectual labor here. Okay. So what you're going to do, I want you to think about 20 years from now. This is the prompt. And by the way, please do not just replicate this prompt in its entirety in your response. That's generic and that wastes a lot of words. I want you to be 250, 300 words, compact, concise, straight to the point, but developing on your idea. So jump in like I already know what the question is because I asked you, right? So make sure you keep, just get into that and don't just 20 years from now, don't do that. Okay. So 20 years from now, when you're at a dinner party with some friends and the subject of your freshman philosophy classes come up, what is the one big thing that you'll remember about this class, and why is that the thing that will stick with you? And yes, I'm asking one particular thing. Could be something about the course, could be something you learned in the material, could be something that happened in a discussion on the board or whatever, right? An assignment you liked. I am not asking you to review the whole course, okay? Please do not do that. Don't gas me up and do this thing where you're like, oh, this course was great, and I like this module and that module, and this and that and that. That's not one of those. Sometimes you do those. I'm not doing that. Listen to what I'm saying. 20 years from now, you're at a party. If some of you are older than 20, think about 20 years ago. How much stuff do you remember, right? So 20 years from now, you're at a party and it just comes up. Like it'll do. Like you might not think about it, but it will. What's the one thing that sticks out that you remember? And why is that the thing that's going to be that you remember? Because when I look back to my class, and my ethics class was spring of 2002. I'm afraid to admit it, that was a long time ago. And I know, I remember the guy's name, Professor Plunkett. I remember he was really cool. I remember like 2 or 3 specific things from that class. One of them was like monumental, like mind blown, like universe altering, changed my mind on something. I won't say what though, because unfortunately, if I say it, I'll just see that replicated back in assignments because that's, the burden of giving an example is you'll see it back in your assignments multiple times. So I have to be careful that you guys are thinking of your own thing. But what's that one thing you'll remember? Okay. So 250 minimum, do not exceed 300. I always tell people, like, if you're going over 300, you better be Rumpelstiltskin, right? And what did he do? He spun gold. So if you're not telling me the greatest thing, like if you're not writing like Ulysses here, don't go over 300. Brevity, stick right to the point. Tell me why, okay? It's informal because you're telling a reflective thing, but that's still academic writing style, still a college essay. Don't write second person you. Don't talk to me. When you say you do this, you do that, you're talking to me. It's about you. So you can say I and me, and I'll remember this. And for me, when I do this, right, that kind of thing. Try not to use contractions. Don't use slang. Clean it up. Make it look good. Make it look like a college paper. But do this on your own. That don't let me telling you that you can't use the Grammarly optimized and the Microsoft Copilot and the little computer to fix it for you. Because by the way, guys, it's fixing it like a computer talks, not like people. This is how CopyLeaks finds it. When you look at those reports I send you guys, it's like 0 out of a million times people talk this way. 65 out of a million times computers talk this way, which is a lot if you think about the fact that those things are designed to try to make a new version. All right, you see what I'm saying? So like, clean it up yourself. Like, go over it, proofread it, look it over, bring it to an SPC writing tutor if you're worried about it. But like, don't cheat yourself the opportunity to learn language by clicking a button and having it fixed for you, because like that's not learning language, right? Take it from me. English was my worst subject at one point because I was trying to find the easy way out. When I actually dedicated time to doing it, I got good at it, and my first job in academics was a writing tutor. You see what I'm saying? So like, when you put that concerted effort in, you can get good. So like, let's see the effort, okay? So don't replicate the prompt, proofread. I kind of talked about some of this stuff. Use an interesting title that reflects the content of the essay. I will take points off if you're just final reflection or module 14. Give me something good, right? And then follow the full APA standards, Times New Roman, 12-point font. Get that into the Dropbox on time, okay? And then those are the assignments that are due for this week. Then you'll see module 15 is the final exam. The final exam, you probably can't see it on your end yet. Well, it has it, I guess, a little bit. Probably just can't enter it because I think I'm in the student mode. So you'll see that the final exam, you got your post survey of ethical issues. It'll open tomorrow. So I guess technically tonight. It'll open tonight at 12:01. And then you'll have till May 4th to finish it. That's going to be a quick 10-minute thing. Your quiz opens at 12:01 a.m. Monday, or your exam Monday. So midnight, Sunday night, however we look at it, your final exam opens, okay? And then it's due Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. So you have all day Monday, all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday to do the test. If you miss that window, you miss that window. You get 2 hours to do it. It's timed. It's 50 questions, true, false, multiple choice. You can do open book. So you can open your textbook. You can have your notes out. I'll warn you, but I won't tell you how the system works. But this thing knows if you're using generative AI programs to answer the questions. So please don't push it. Okay. I mean, it's 2 hour open book, open notes. You can do this the right way and still do really well. Okay. So don't risk it all, when you're at the goal line, so to speak. Don't be that guy who puts the ball down and starts celebrating before they cross the end zone line. If we got any football fans out there, it happens at least once a year in college, and I'm like, how is this still happening, right? So like, get across that goal line and then start celebrating, do whatever you want. Okay, this is 100 points. It's 50 questions, so that's going to be 2 points per question. Take your time. Now, you also want to consider this. 2 hours sounds like a lot of time, but if you're looking up every single question in the textbook, you're going to run out of time. So try to prepare, try to trust your gut, try to have some things marked in your notes that you think might be relevant. But at the end of the day, you've got that time limit. Don't, fall short, okay? And then, like I said, your extra credit is here. And so you'll see there's a bunch of quizzes that you can do for 10 points apiece. It's the same kind of quizzes we've been doing. These quizzes specifically are ones where in other iterations of the course, I am teaching or have taught these concepts. And so I think they're pretty interesting things to know. Like economic justice is pretty cool. A lot about taxes in there. The human rights is a good one just to kind of understand like, more about John Locke and like the UN's Declaration of Human Rights. The war of terrorism is pretty interesting. Technology, humanity, and ethics is definitely, a relevant topical issue. And then a lot of people like the environment and other living beings. A lot of you were very excited. I think the first essay midterm topic to fully fill up was like the animal rights one. And so there's a very interesting section in there about animal well-being, animal rights, the 3R model of animal usage. There's definitely some really cool things in there that thinks about the environment and our interaction, and like 5 of the general ways that ethically we look at the environment, right? So this will be cool. I mean, it's good, quick and easy, relative to however long it takes you to do the quiz, but quick and easy 10 points that you can get. And then you have these different assignments. So the way this works is you can do up to 50 points here. So each of these is worth 25 points. If you do 2 and you do them perfectly, you'll get 50. It's an aggregate total though. So like if you did 3 and you did an honest attempt at like all 3 of them, you could get up to that 50. It's like if you do 2 and you're at like 40 points, you need 10 more. And you do like you put a few words on paper and think I'm gonna give you 10 points. So I'm not gonna do that. You have to do like an honest effort on it, and then I give you the 50 points. So 100 points is it's a full letter grade. That you can bump up with. So you definitely take advantage of that. Unfortunately, and in the syllabus it does say though that if you've had any issues with academic integrity, you can't do the extra credit. There just has to be, some sort of line drawn. But for those of you who have not, that opportunity is still definitely there for you. Okay. Yeah. So that's about it. That's where we're at. We've got, to sum it up again, we'll go back to the course homepage. I know seems like a lot, but it's just stretching us through the next week and a half to the goal line here. Obviously, the survey is going to pop up at you if you've not done that yet. But like I said, if you want to do it, cool. Just put your honest thoughts down there. Give me some feedback. If not, I'm not going to make you do anything you don't want to do. That's up to you. But again, so you got your Dropbox discussion board post due tonight for Module 12. The Module 11 reply post is due tonight. The reply post for Module 12 will be due Tuesday. You've got your Chapter 12 and your Chapter 14 Smart Book quizzes due tomorrow night. You got your Code of Ethics due Thursday. You got your final reflection due Sunday. Your extra credit due Sunday. Your post survey of ethical issues due Sunday. So again, like the first week, there's going to feel like there's a lot going on this week, but that's just the nature of this 8-week thing. We get all this out of the way, and that way next week I just want you to work on, focusing on that final exam. The way it's going to work is, it opens Monday, closes Wednesday. This way, when it goes through Thursday morning, I can wake up, I can finalize the grades because that thing auto grades, get them submitted, and then not get on any lists with my department. Okay. So as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If not, we'll get through this last week together, and then you guys will go on and get to your next summer semester or your summer off or whatever your next journey is through college. So you won't be seeing me again through video this semester. I will be, doing a Sunday email next week just to kind of give you some follow-up. So if you're ever on campus, I'm at Clearwater, and you want to say hi, I'd love to meet you guys in real life. If not, it's been nice, getting to know you, in this asynchronous setting. And let's get through to the end here and finish this thing out. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Have a good week.